Okay, so we are on 12:30, so I think we will kick off. Got a lot of you in the room, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to close this poll down. First of all, welcome. This is the fourth and final in our series of webinars we've been doing this week. I'm sure we will do them again, but for now, this one is the final of the week. They've been going really well, which is fantastic. This is aimed at parents and carers of Year 10 students. The other three webinars we've done are on our website, the recorded version and also the PowerPoint. As we talk through the PowerPoint, you'll see why that's useful, because there's quite a lot of links which we won't be opening while we're talking because there's so much to cover, but you will be able to use this PowerPoint afterwards and click on them and go and explore and do some research by yourself or with your child. So just to kick us off, in case you don't know who we are. My name is Miranda Glavin and I am a careers advisor and also the founder and director of Elevate Careers, which is a careers guidance and education company and based in Brighton. And Mark, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Mark Anderson. I'm a careers advisor. I've been a careers advisor for nearly 20 years now. So I work in a range of schools in the Sussex area.
Brill. So you've got, today you've got two for the price of one. Got two perspectives. Mark's going to be leading most of it and I'll join in every now and then. Couple of things just before we go any further. It's really helpful just for us to make sure that you can hear us and see us okay. If you could just give us a little wave. Yes, raise, you know the score. We're getting waves already. Fantastic. So if you, at the bottom of the screen, it's got the raised hand. Fantastic. Looks like most people can. If you've got a problem, you can't see us or hear us, I think it must be on your side because it seems like the majority of people can hear us. I also will point out at this time that the Q&A box, if you've got questions, we will be coming to them potentially throughout, but most of them will answer right at the end. So please feel free to ask as we go along if things pop up that you think, oh, I want to know more about that. And then we'll answer the Q&As at the end. And we might also stay on for a few minutes on the chat box as well right at the end. So yeah, send us questions. That's what we're here to answer. Okay, just very briefly before we get onto sort of the main content, these week's webinars are part of a project called Get Career Confident, which we're running in specific schools in Brighton and Hove and a few outside. But actually a lot of it's open to anyone. So you can book online for a careers interview wherever you are for your child. We have lots of resources on our website. Have a look at that. We've got a dedicated Facebook page for parents and carers, which we put stuff on every single day. Worth following if you're on Facebook. And obviously the other webinars I've already mentioned are online. We've also got students, if your child's on Instagram, it's worth getting them to follow us there. So this is what we're going to cover. Some general top tips, which I'm just going to quickly run through. Post-16 choices, where and what, how to choose, that's the tricky one. A little bit about work experience and apprenticeships, and just a reminder that these strange days won't be forever. Things will move on. So I think I'm just going to go through these before I pass over to Mark. I've said it throughout this week, but I think it is the single most important thing to take away from the world we're currently in, which is mental health is paramount. I'm speaking to all sorts of different ages of young people, and I think the common theme or thread is some anxiety and worry and uncertainty about what the future holds, be it how they'll carry on online learning or how they'll be reintroduced to school. We're talking about year 10s going back in a couple of weeks, staggered or one day a week. Some parents maybe aren't feeling comfortable about that, which I would completely understand. I think it's just about being kind to yourself and being kind to your child. Understanding stress brings out all sorts of difficult things. If you're struggling before the pandemic, is likely it's probably a bit trickier right now. And homeschooling is tough. I think we're all thinking that. So just, whatever you're doing the best you can. There are some really good resources in these links here about motivating your child and about the small achievements count, because I think a definite thing that's coming up a lot is feeling young people feeling quite demotivated about what they should be doing or could be doing. So some really great tips there. If you're on the other side of the spectrum with a bored teenager who's done all their work and thinking, you know, what else can I do? There's a video we've put together with some free online courses, which are really great, and also a handout called Boredom Breakers. Getting into the sort of the nitty gritty, just as a heads up, some college deadlines for applications for that's going next September are at the beginning of December, which does feel like a while away, but let me tell you, we come back in sort of September, October, and suddenly, you know, a few months have gone past and everyone's sort of panicking about getting their applications in, which is why we recommend starting your research now. So we've got an overview video, which is a good place to start. You know, obviously watching this is helpful, but it will give you more broad and more detailed information. And that's a good place to kick off. And lastly, I've mostly mentioned these points, but there is a student version of this presentation, which is on our website, or will be later today. And obviously follow us on Facebook and book an interview if you would like one. It'll be with me or one of my colleagues, such as Mark. Okay, I'm going to pass over to lovely Mark.
Brilliant. Okay, so when we're thinking about options after year 11, many of you or many of your children will be thinking about going to a college. But first of all, it's important to know that the difference is in the types of colleges that they can be attending. So first of all, there's a school with a sixth form. So for example, they might want to carry on at the school they're at the moment and go into the sixth form there. So obviously the sixth form will be part of a whole school, but you've also got colleges where they're just 16 to 19-year-olds there on their own. So they might want to go to a college like, I don't know, Basvic, Worthing College, Varndine and so on, where it's just a college on its own. So in terms of making decisions, your child will be thinking, well, do I want to stay in a school environment similar to what I'm in at the moment and carry on in that sixth form and have more of a school vibe, or maybe go to somewhere where there's just people over 16 and maybe you might feel a bit more mature and a different atmosphere and so on. So you've got that choice as well. And then you've also got specialist colleges where they might focus on a particular subject. So you've got places like BIM, which is the music college, or DV8 as well, where you're focusing on media related courses. And there's also alternative provision. So there is a wide range of different types of courses that you can look at. And hopefully we've got information that you can look at where you can find out which are the local colleges that your child can be considering. Now, a lot of colleges this term will have been doing taster days where you can go to the college and sample the subjects that you're interested in. But obviously with the pandemic going on at the moment, they've all been cancelled, pretty much all been cancelled anyway. But there will be another opportunity to go to the college in the autumn where you can go for an open day, have a look around the college, speak to the teachers, get a feel of the place. So if you can have a chance to go to 2 or 3 different open days, that will give you a really good opportunity to compare the different colleges and see where your child feels they will be most comfortable. So if we can go to the next slide.
Yeah, I'll just point out, oh, bit of strange sound thing going on there. Hopefully it's all still all right. I was just going to point out for each of these slides, you'll notice at the beginning there's a watch this video. So that's, you know, even more broad and more detailed information about all of these things we're talking about. So if you want to find out more about where you can study and all the different types, then watch these videos. But obviously us going through it is equally valuable, if not more. Brill.
Okay, so the other thing that you'll be thinking about if you're looking at different colleges is the different types of qualifications that you can do at these colleges. So the main difference is that you've got vocational qualifications and you've got academic ones. So again, you can click on there afterwards to watch the video on that. But in a nutshell, the academic qualifications will be similar to the GCSEs that your child has been doing. Obviously, they're at a higher level. So we're talking about A-levels, perhaps the International Baccalaureate as well. So they are generally the subjects that you are probably doing at the moment in school. But you've also got the vocational qualifications. So vocational means they're related to a particular area of work. So work-related courses. So there will be some courses that you can look at college that perhaps you've never done before. And that's why it's really important to start the research now to see what the possibilities are. Now, there will be some crossover. There are some subjects that you can either do as a vocational course or an academic. So for example, the vocational courses like the BTECs, you can do subjects like sport, but you can also do the academic PE A-level. You've also got business studies, which you can do as a vocational BTEC. You've also got business studies as an A-level. The other main difference is that A-levels are mainly assessed by exams. BTECs are mainly assessed by coursework. So again, if your child is thinking they can't stand exams, they might want to consider the BTEC or vice versa. You've also got qualifications. I just mentioned the International Baccalaureate. That is a set of academic qualifications. Now, normally you'd be choosing 6 subjects and you'll be doing 3 subjects at a higher level, 3 at a lower level. Not all colleges offer this, but I would say it's ideal for people who are pretty much good all-rounders at a range of subjects and can't really choose. So therefore you might want to do a maths, an English, a foreign language, a science, and so on. So like I said, there's not that many colleges that offer it, but it's worth considering if you're fairly academic. So it's important to be aware of the different types of qualifications. And when you are looking at the different college websites and so on, make sure you're aware of whether it's an A-level or a BTEC, NVQ, and so on when you're researching. I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, Miranda.
No, I think that was pretty thorough. I just noticed a few people raise their hands. If you do have a question or something's wrong or whatever, just make sure you write it in the Q&A, because that's quite helpful for us just to check in. Actually, I think it might be interesting just at this point just to do a quick poll, if I can find it, just to see what your children are thinking about doing at this point. So, are they thinking A-levels, or are they thinking maybe doing a vocational course or even an apprenticeship? Maybe you have no idea or they have no idea. Okay, so this is interesting. So A-levels are definitely the most popular. We've got quite a few saying they're not sure, which is understandable. Hopefully that will change following this and hopefully the research they're going to be doing over the next few months. And then we've got. I think
A-levels. Sorry, I was just going to say A-levels. I'm not surprised by that because that's what people know of. They're more familiar with A-levels compared to BTECs and other types of qualifications. But absolutely. I still say it's worth considering and looking at other types of qualifications as well, because when you're looking ahead to the future and perhaps you're thinking of university, universities will still consider BTEC qualifications as well as A-levels. And if you look at entry requirements at universities, they will often say for a degree, if you're doing a BTEC, we want you to get this grade. If you're doing an A-level, we want you to get this grade, and so on. And it is also possible that you can mix and match. You can do an A-level with a BTEC or an A-level with a double BTEC or a single BTEC. BTECs can come in different sizes as well. So if you want to focus on just one subject area in a BTEC, you can do a triple BTEC in sport in some colleges, for example. Or if you want to mix it with other subjects, that's also possible. So, yeah.
Absolutely. There is a lot to cover in this area in terms of qualifications and the types of qualifications and the different subjects you can do within them. The videos that we've got sort of extend this information a little bit more. If you want a longer video, live video on it, absolutely let us know. At the end of the webinar, there's a short feedback form. So if you want more information on particular things we're talking about, let us know and we can do another one at some point. Okay, I'm just going to end that poll and close that for a moment and just move you into the next slide. Okay, this is the tricky one.
Yes, so obviously there's lots of options there for you, and it's important that you obviously make the right choice. How do you make the right choice? Well, we always say, whatever subjects you're choosing, choose subjects that you think you're going to enjoy, that you think you're going to do well in, and also subjects that might be useful for your future. And that's really key, because if you've got a particular career idea in mind or a degree idea, it will be useful to think about what subjects might be useful for that particular area. So obviously if you've got interests in a medical career, you'll want to be looking at the science subjects. If you're interested in something more creative arts related, it'll be useful to do an arts subject, and so on. So it's important that if you do have an idea, find out what subjects might be required to go into that. So even if you're looking at a university, find some universities that offer the subject that you might be interested in doing, and then look at their entry requirements and see what A-levels or BTECs they might be asking for. In some cases, it doesn't really matter. So it just comes back to the whole, choose what you think you're going to enjoy and do well in. And like I said earlier on, there will be a number of subjects that you can choose that perhaps you've never done before. So there might be A-levels in subjects like economics, philosophy, law. You might be interested in those. So it's important that you do research. The more information you find out about the subjects you're interested in, the clearer you'll be about whether that subject is right for you. There's lots of information that you can, lots of resources out there that you can access that will help you to make your mind up as well. There's various career quizzes, as you can see there. So you can click on those, do the quiz. You can either go for a short one if you haven't got time, or go for a more in-depth option as well. And there's various other websites that you can use that will help you to find out where your interests lie and what your possible subjects could be, having chosen that option. So I hope that's all going to be useful for you. Shall we move on to the next?
Yeah, fantastic. That's a really good overview. Those websites you've chosen there are sort of, you know, there's so much out there that I've just tried to make it easier for you by just picking ones that I think will give you a good overview to help your child explore career areas and explore pathways and explore the things that might work for them, and then use that to answer those questions. You know, what do I enjoy? What might I be good at? What might have potential in, and what might be useful for my future? So, you know, try, you know, spend half an hour sitting down with your child and look through some of these, and then you're both informed. You both have the same level of information to make a good choice.
Yeah, this is where we also, come back to the making sure you research the different courses on the different college websites, because you'll read the information on that. And, you know, some of them are really useful. They will say, oh, if you've got an interest in this, you might want to consider this subject or that subject. So that's really useful to do as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Work experience.
Okay, so work experience. Now, we always say that, you know, it's not just about having qualifications when we're looking at what you want to do in your future. Qualifications are great, obviously, but it's important to be well-rounded and to have experiences as well. So one of those experiences can be work experience. I don't know if your child does work experience in their school. Obviously, if you can do work experience, it's really useful, because then that can give you some job ideas for the future. And even if you hate your work experience, you can come away and think, well, I thought I was interested in that, but I'm not anymore. So it's a much safer way of exploring different employment opportunities. Obviously now with the pandemic going on, work experience opportunities are few and far between, and it's really important that we look at what possible alternatives there are. By the way, if you can hear a child in the background, that's my 13-year-old. He doesn't quite know how to be quiet. That's the way it goes in this house. So if you look on these resources here, there are some online opportunities where you can get a taste of what work experience could be like. So if you've got a career idea in mind, it might be useful to look at some of these and see if you can find out a bit more about that particular career, and see if there are options for online work experience where you can just basically go to a company's website and they give you tasks to do and things like that. So have a look at these resources, because for certain careers it will be essential that your child has work experience. So if they're interested in law or medicine or something else, scientific, engineering, it would be really useful to have some work experience over the next couple of years before applying to university or going on to an apprenticeship. So that's some useful resources there for you.
Brilliant. Okay. Last but not least.
Yes, apprenticeships. So your child might be thinking, actually, they've had enough of education and they prefer to learn in a working environment, and therefore they might want to consider an apprenticeship. An apprenticeship you can do straight after year 11 or after college. So you've got that option. In a nutshell, an apprenticeship is where you work, you get paid, and you're also getting work experience and also working towards doing a qualification at the same time. So at the end of the apprenticeship, you've got a qualification, you've got money in the bank, and you've got good work experience. So they are popular options. And there are various websites that you can look at to try and find vacancies. Obviously, at the moment, if you're looking, it's going to be quite tough. But obviously, we don't know what the situation is going to be like this time next year, when we might have year 11s looking for apprenticeships once their GCSEs have finished. So it's something just to keep an eye on. I do feel for the current year 11s who are, or school leavers who are looking at apprenticeships now, because there's not a huge amount. There are still some, but there's not a huge amount at the moment. So we would always say, if you're looking for an apprenticeship, that's fine, but also apply to college as a backup plan. So at least when it comes to September after your GCSEs, if you haven't got an apprenticeship, you know you've got a college place in September. So again, if you've got any questions on apprenticeships, please pop them in the Q&A at the bottom, and we'll do our best to answer those.
Yeah, I think a fantastic option for a lot of young people, but I think it's really important to know that they are in some ways more complicated and take longer to achieve than just the sort of general simplest sort of process of going to college. So, you know, it's about looking for them, choosing what kind of apprenticeship works best for you, finding the right one, then making a successful application. All of that, you know, takes quite a lot of maturity. So, you know, if your young person is definitely keen on it, then, you know, I think it's really important to let them know they have to put a lot of effort in. And, you know, again, we can support you with that. Okay, we've got nearly 10 minutes left. Do you want to let me know what kind of questions you guys might have out there? Just while you're having a little think, I'm just going to do a last poll. This one is slightly different because we would like your feedback really around an idea that we've got to create a Facebook group for parents and carers to talk about anything to do really with careers. So, you know, choosing GCSEs, you know, what college options there are, what makes sense for your child. And it would be moderated by careers advisors, but you could get feedback from other parents as well. And I can't see that there's something like that exists at the moment. So I'm wondering if this is something that would be of value to you guys. So I'm just going to launch that poll right now. Do you think it would be helpful to have a Facebook group for parents, carers of teens? So yeah, where you get to share careers related questions basically. So that's looking very popular. That's good. One person said no thanks. I'd be really interested to know why. Let me know in the Q&A. Maybe you're not on Facebook, or maybe you've got another reason, but let me know, because that's interesting. I'm just moving us on to the last slide, which is a reminder that this won't be forever. I think that's a good thing to keep in our minds, but we will carry on doing these webinars because I think they've been pretty successful. And it's a great way to connect with parents, because as careers advisors, we often spend our time just speaking to young people. And I think parents are such, you know, you guys are critical in the lives of your children, and we want to you know, engage with that as much as possible. So we've got some questions coming through. I'm going to be mean. Mark, do you want to answer that first one? What are the positives?
Okay, the positives
of the IB?
Yes, International Baccalaureate. Universities like them because they know they're getting a good all-rounder. So, you know, even if you're looking at somewhere like Cambridge or Oxford, you know, they really like it because, you know, like I said, they're getting somebody who's good at a range of subjects. And also as part of the IB, there's a lot of research you need to do, and you do a lot of the skills that you would do in university. So, in terms of learning skills. So, yeah, like I said, it also means that because you're doing a range of subjects, it means you've got a wider choice of what you want to do at university. So if you're not quite sure, because you're doing the IB and you have to do sciences as well as maths and the English and so on, and the foreign language, the world is your oyster when it comes to what your choices are afterwards. You're not limiting your choices. In fact, you're making a lot broader.
Yeah. I think it's a really great option for those students that have a real broad ability across a range of subjects as well. You know, there's always that student who says, "Oh, I want to do that subject and that subject and that subject," and A levels it's not going to fit that kind of those interests and that ability. So if you've got a high level of ability child who likes science and English and maths, then, you know, the IB can be a really great option. I'll do this next one. What path would you, if you don't mind, I'm joining as well.
Yeah, go for it, please.
What path would you recommend for someone who wants a career in music, music producer or sound guy, for example? So coming from a child of two musicians, I also do a lot of work at BIM. I would say music is about, well, upskilling as much as possible in an instrument, even for things like music production or sound, having a really strong understanding of theory and how music works. So having a really good ability on an instrument is paramount. There are colleges that specialise in music, so BIM is a good example. And obviously going further onto university, there are lots of universities. BIM is local, but there's also Waterbear. So first of all, specialise in music as much as you possibly can. You can just do music A level, but you won't be in the sort of the right environment, which is my second point. It's all about networking. That is pretty much the music industry inside out, is all about who you know. So any opportunity you can get to go to gigs to speak to people is absolutely crucial. So that's why I would recommend going to a sort of a music focused institute. Hopefully that's answered that. If you want to talk more about it, absolutely book an interview or stay on the chat at the end. Got quite a few more questions to get through in the 4 minutes we've got left.
There's the International Baccalaureate. Where can you do it? I know Varndine offers it. And I think further in East Sussex, I'm pretty sure that, what's the college? Is it Eastbourne or Bexhill? One of those colleges?
I do know what, I meant to look this up yesterday. And I think it's either, I don't think it's East Sussex. There is another college in East Sussex that offers it. If you hold on, I can find out in a second, but Varndine College is the one in the Brighton Hove area. It's the only place that offers it that's free. What qualifications courses allow options to travel?
Ooh.
Everything.
yeah. I think sometimes when you're thinking about courses, if you're thinking of, let's say, degrees, then often as part of the degree, you can spend a year abroad, either studying or working as part of that degree. Now, obviously, there's the language degrees that allow you to do that. But there's also other qualifications like, I don't know, international relations or those types of international related courses. Yeah, hospitality as a really good one, because that's a big thing, especially in the certain parts of Europe. So yeah, that's all I would say for that, really.
Yeah, I think people often get focused in on I must do something to do with travel, but actually, like I said, there are so many different careers where travel is central to it. So I would focus on what they actually enjoy doing, and then see if there's the kind of jobs that would mean they would be able to travel. Because business, for example, a business degree, there are thousands of jobs you could end up in where travel is a big part of it, but business is a broad subject. So yeah, I think it's about what they're interested in. If they like languages, go for languages. There's two questions here. First one is a big one. Sometimes it is hard to engage teams, especially they're doing so much online work. Do you have tips how to help engagement, especially when they are not quite sure what they want to do? Well, yeah, there's a lot going on with that. The link that I put in the first few slides, the motivation link, is a really good piece of writing about exactly that. How do we help them focus on what at the moment can feel like an uncertain future. I think there are lots of little tips you can do to kind of reduce sort of anxiety, because that's often what it is. When we disengage, it's because we feel overwhelmed. So breaking things down into manageable tasks, which teens find really difficult, but adults, we tend to get better at it. So, don't tell them what they should be doing, but help them look at what they have to do and then think, well, actually, rather than just trying to do all of it, okay, what can we do today in an hour? But also, I think really getting them excited about their future. So some of this research that we're talking about, making sure they are looking around and speak to your family friends about their careers. So just try to help them become inspired about what is possible for them. Because if you have, we don't need to work out what we're going to do forever and ever, but if you have some ideas, some little sparks, that will automatically make them feel more inclined to move towards that, rather than just, backing out and giving in. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add there, Mark, because I've just noticed
No,
it's 2:00.
yeah, I was kind of going to say that the point that you mentioned about just being curious, finding out what, you know, your adult friends, your parents' friends are doing. What do they do for their job? Just get curious. And even with using the internet or finding things on YouTube, think about what really matters to you as an individual, and find out more information about it. And then you can try and see what jobs might be related to that. Because at the end of the day, you want to be doing a job that you're passionate about, and it helps then if you can focus that attention on things that you are passionate about, really. So yeah, that's it. But again, I appreciate it's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. The other questions, a few just about well, information regarding dance options. There are a few colleges, well, there's a few colleges that offer dance courses. East Sussex is one. The ICT Theatre does a performing arts college course, which is based in Brighton, so that's also worth looking at. If you want to email me directly, and I can give you some more specific links, but there are definitely places that locally that you can study dance. I have a son interested in DT, which approach is best, college or apprenticeship? Mark, I don't know if you want to answer that. I'm just going to quickly find out about the answer.
Yeah, either really. If you're looking at apprenticeships, there are hands-on practical apprenticeships like engineering and construction related apprenticeships. And, you know, when there are lots of apprenticeships, you will often find quite a few of those within those sectors. So that's worth looking at. In terms of college, again, if you want to go for a more vocational approach and go to a vocational college, you've got colleges that do offer engineering courses, construction courses as well. So that could be worth looking at. You know, colleges like Brighton Met is very good for vocational courses like that. So that could be one to consider as well. The only thing about those kind of courses, that if you do those courses, you're just doing the one course on its own for the 2 years generally, rather than mixing and matching with A levels or so on. But it's certainly worth looking at those types of colleges: Brighton Met, Chichester College, other colleges in the East Sussex area as well that are more vocational.
Brilliant, thank you. And I'm just going to answer these last few because I mean, if you guys are happy to stay, we can stay for a few more minutes, but I understand if you do need to shoot off. Do you know what geography courses can lead to? Opportunities, jobs. The Geographical Society has a really good careers website that I would recommend you having a look at. It's I'm pretty sure, I'm just double check while I'm looking this up. It is Bexhill
Right.
that has the IB. So I think it's the Royal. If you Google Royal Geographic Society careers, I'm pretty sure that's what I'm doing right now, and that should careers advice. Royal Geographical Society is a great place to start. Geography is, I think there are lots of careers that are specific to geography, so kind of, you know, land-based careers, but there's also places where it would be useful but isn't so obvious, so kind of town planning and things like that. So it's quite a broad area, and it's definitely an area where you could travel as well. So yeah, get on the Royal Society for that one.
So there's the two types of geography, isn't there? There's the human geography and there's the physical as well. So yeah, you know, it depends on where your interest is.
Yeah, thank you. What qualifications give the most flexibility when it comes to career choices? You are asking us some hard questions. It's great. I think I don't know if there's an answer to that, because it depends on a number of different things. It depends on what you want to do as an individual, because someone with just sciences at A level, for example, may end up doing the same thing as someone who did a performing arts BTEC. You know, I think sometimes we give too much attention onto, you know, if you don't do this, then the rest of your life, you know, you won't be able to do this, that, and the other, which kind of goes against what I'm saying. But I guess my point is, it's always about do what you enjoy, because you are most likely to have a broader range of things that you can go and do afterwards that will appeal to you. So I would never say, oh, you know, don't do, I don't know, let's think of a slightly more niche subject. Let's say philosophy. I mean, it's not niche, but it's not maybe as broad as business. there are philosophers working in marketing, there are philosophers working in business, there are philosophers working in research, but there's also people who've studied physics working in those three areas. So I mean, I guess I'm being a bit of a cop-out with this one, but I think it's, you know, doing as many qualifications as you can, ideally getting a degree if it makes sense for the area that you want to work in, is my advice for flexibility of choice. But I wouldn't want to say there are specific things that you should be doing. That's my kind of summary. So if there's anything else you want to add there, Mark.
Oh, I think you've said it all.
You said it all, thank you. And last question before we nip off, because we're a bit over, but hopefully that's okay with everyone. Yeah, how is the PDF accessible afterwards? So it will be on our website. So Get Career Confident. I'm just going to put it in the chat for everyone. If I can spell. In the parent section. Oh no, I can't spell. In the parent section, we have a section which talks about the Zoominars, and as soon as I've saved this and edited this today, that will go up there. So it will either be the end of the day or tomorrow, along with the PowerPoint. So they're all there. And hopefully that's just gone to everybody and I have written the right one. Yes, I have. Great. So yeah, this will be available and you can have a look at it. So it's a PowerPoint presentation. I think that's the last question. Okay, guys. Thank you. That was really enjoyable. It's lovely to do it with you, Mark.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good fun.
Off. Thank you all for listening and sticking around right to the end. Any questions? We have a chat option on our website. You can send us an email. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're everywhere. Thank you. You're all getting lots of thanks, which is fantastic and helps us feel, you know, that we're doing something useful here. We will be back at some point. Let us know if you've got specific needs or if you want to book an appointment. And yeah, take care, guys. I'm going to hang around just to the end. There's a little feedback form when you guys log out. So I'll just stick around until you all go. I think we've got another Q&A coming in. Might be here till tomorrow.
Here all afternoon.
Yeah. Let's see who else. Thank you. It's just a thank you. Thank you. Mark, you're okay if you want to go, but you can also stay if you like.
I've got a couple of minutes.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think it's best for us to stay. Otherwise, I think if we go before people go, then they don't see the feedback form, which is what we possibly.
Oh, right. Okay.
So I tend to stay around till everyone's gone.
Yeah.
Got people there. I love that you're all hanging around, even though we're just having a chat. Few 6 more people are still there. Thanks everyone. Thank you. Can you see the chat?
Yes, I can. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Got some really nice feedback.
Yeah.
Got 5 people with us. Have you got interviews this afternoon, Mark, or you think?
Not anymore, no. All done.
That's good. I'm hoping to do some gardening finally.
Ah.
Man, gonna get in that sun.
Yeah, it's my daughter went out earlier on. She said the sea is really nice today.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Need to get down. I've not been massively keen because Brighton is, yeah, it's not, you know, it's either very busy or.
Has it been busier than it should be?
I think so. Well, from what people have told me, but I've not really. I've only been to the sea once to Seaford, and that was pretty quiet. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we've got 4 people left, but I think we'll let them bow out when they want to bow out. So I'll close it now. But thank you, everybody.
And thank you, guys.
I'll probably give you a call in a minute.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Okay. Take care. Bye.